5 weeks deep into the SFL season finds us with a battle of two teams looking for a statement win tonight. And you are looking live at David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium as the Denver Nightwings come into town to face the Carolina Skyhawks. Good evening. I'm Cameron Duty, and joining me tonight is my partner and friend DJ Kilgannon. DJ, when these two long-standing squads get together, there's always fireworks. Denver's looking to go 3-1 for the first time in a good while with a victory tonight, while Carolina looks to finally break through in the win column after a series of tough losses. So this is a big one for both of these teams in many different ways. What do you expect to see tonight, my friend?
Well, thanks for the welcome, Cameron. As always, my friend. And I look at this game as interesting. Carolina has had a very rough start. Denver coming off of a really tough loss to Mexico City, but both of these coaching staffs are going to wipe the slate clean coming into this one. We had a chance to talk to both the coaching staffs. They want to come into this one with a clean slate. And you look at Carolina, they've had some trouble getting the passing game going. So, I think in this one they're going to try and lean on the run game, but against a stout Denver defense, that might be a little tough.
Both teams trying to rebound off of tough losses. We'll see who gets the W tonight. Folks, you're not going to want to go anywhere for the next hour and a half or so. And we're glad to have you in here with us as we get a return immediately from the Skyhawks, bringing it out to the 29-yard line, setting up shop. Let's say hello to the Skyhawks starting lineup. Quarterback number 3, Bryant Dynasty, leading this offensive group with halfbacks Riley Quintero, Ike McBride, and the fullback Hattori Hanzo. The wide receiving core is Nolan Pierce, Chase Earl, Adam Banks, and Chris Curtis. The two tight ends, Tony Zoma and Gibson Rickenbacker. The two tackles are Brookie Bird and Kate Palmer. And the two guards, Ricky Rigatoni and Chris Cross. Nice looking uniforms for both of these teams this evening. As we said, they start from the 29, and it is a handoff to begin the day, and a shot right off the bat to Quintero. Gain of 3 brings up second down, DJ.
Yeah, that was John Martin, the linebacker for Denver. He's been prevalent in the run game this season. Got just above a dozen tackles and plenty for loss. He's going to be big if Carolina tries and sticks with the run.
And they do. They stick with the run once more, and again, it's the defense standing up and making a play. This time it's Luis Quintana, so let's introduce you to this defensive lineup for Denver. Defensive ends Gerald Cumbus and Hugo Reynosa. The two defensive tackles, Logan Gardner and Joseph Sabolka. The linebackers, Chuck Diesel, Luis Quintana, John Martin, and Jimmy Burgett, and we will stop there to get this play in as Carolina gonna send the whole house on third down. Nicely throwing deep into traffic, and it's incomplete.
And looked like that was DeVore there on the coverage for Denver. He's been prevalent in stopping the pass for Denver, and they've been really solid in that regard all season long. They're top 5 interceptions as a unit in the league right now. And, besides that loss last week to Mexico City, this defense was looking really, really scary, Cam. We saw them take down teams, like Albuquerque, who looked almost unstoppable going into that game. And, if Denver continues to force Carolina into those passing downs with how shaky Bryant Dynasty has looked up to this point, I think it's going to be a long night for Carolina.
Well, we will get to the rest of that defensive lineup as they come back up for the next time. But now we turn our attention to the Denver offense. A quick series there for Carolina, and just over a minute, I should say, in this game is this quarterback Trellis Blanton for Denver, giving it to the halfback O'Shaughnessy. Bailey O'Shaughnessy making men miss with a stiff arm move there, and a 1st and 10, first play from scrimmage.
And that's just an explosive display of running from O'Shaughnessy. Stiff arms a man into the other, knocking him down like bowling pins out there, Cam. And what a way to start it off. Your first play on offense, going for a first down by Bailey O'Shaughnessy, your lead tailback.
Ball right at midfield, actually spotted at the 49-yard line of Carolina. They keep it on the ground, stuffed right up the middle. That's a gain of 1. We'll mention this Denver offense. We mentioned Trellis Blanton and halfback Bailey O'Shaughnessy. We'll also continue right there with halfback Jeremy Mosley and fullback R.E. Mills. The wide receiving core, Dylan Lewis, Jay Viper, Michael Goodman, and Logan Keel. The tight end is Mike Kleinecht. The two tackles, Gene Benazzi and Kiara Cool. The guard is Marcella Martin, in the center, D'Angelo De Jesus. On second down, throwing deep, and it's just good coverage all the way across the board. Downfield, making the deflection there, it was Shravan Prasad, number 99, the linebacker.
Yeah, he is just one of the best in the entire league when it comes to linebackers in coverage. That's 99 pass deflection on his career from him, one away from 100. And he's just really good. He's such a big body, but he's so athletic to be able to run around in coverage.
Fake handoff, and he stands up. He gets hit trying to get rid of the football. It is recovered by the big offensive lineman. Thankfully for Denver, Gene Benazzi right there to pick it up. But delivering the boom was these Carolina Skyhawks on a third down situation. Let's look at this replay.
Yeah, I mean, you see him just going untouched around the edge and laying a devastating hit just as Blant was trying to get the football out of his hand. I was trying to see the number on that jersey. It was a little tough from that angle. Oh, well, now we'll definitely get to see it now, thankfully.
Yeah, we'll get a chance as Denver's wanting to challenge this previous play. So, yeah, you're right. We'll get some multiple angles here. It was Prasad from what I'm understanding.
So. Yep, looks
like
coming
around the edge. Oh
my goodness.
Man.
Yeah, thankfully for the tackle, he was trying to chase him down to make the block. That's what put him in position to recover it.
And the ruling on the field is overturned. Okay. So Denver not going to be charged a timeout. It will still be 4th down, however, so they will have to punt this away. 4th and 9, we'll see Jordan Bradshaw on the field. Try to pin this Carolina team deep. So good defensive stand by both of these units to start this game off. As they begin to, as we said, just try to fill things out here. Both teams, as we said, looking for a big victory after a tough week last week. We're going to get a return here. And still on his feet before getting wrapped up is Nolan Pierce. So let's reset here, DJ. After 2 series, just under 2 minutes in this game has been completed up to this point. And it's kind of like starting over at square one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, minus the defenses getting a little bit of momentum their way, you know, you come out on offense, you gotta shake everything clean. And, you know, it's just like the gameplay coming into the week, a fresh new week. It's a fresh new drive. You got to shake everything off and play like it's the first one of the game.
And they do keep it on the ground. A good decision there with Quintero running left, picking up some good solid yards on 2nd down. Let's finish this Denver defense. We left off with their cornerbacks. We will mention them, and we'll go from there. The cornerbacks, Jimmy Hatsis and Luke Schreiner, Stephen Goodman and Ted Haynes, and Parker Thomas as well. And then the safeties, it's Lucas DeVore at free safety, and Blake Prine and Tank Bennett at strong safety. As we get a minute there to complete the lineup. As it's been quick so far, a lot of clock stoppage and quick series up to this point. Both teams trying to find a rhythm, as that is the halfback, number 34, Ike McBride. She really disappears into the pile there, and it brings up 3rd and 2.
Yeah, one thing we did talk about coming into this one, Cam, was them trying to see if they're going to rely on the run game, you know, like they had previously, and certainly looks so now.
We see a man in motion. That is the 4-time All-Star Chris Curtis moving to the top of your screen. Another 3rd down situation here. 2 to go. They give it to Quintero. Good blocking up front provides for some holes, and he's able to take advantage of it. 1st and 10 for the Skyhawks, and I believe that's one of our first downs of the day.
I believe you were right. Quintero, top 5 in the league in rushing yards this season, or rushing attempts. Excuse me, not rushing yards.
McBride again with the carry, who gets a couple. That was indeed Carolina's first down of the game. Denver also has 1 first down up to this point as we approach the 6-minute mark remaining in this first quarter. Easily right now the most sustained drive for Carolina. Not saying too much, but they're ready to get things rolling here. 2 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Dynasty with time unloads, and there's the play they're looking for. Chase Earl And you begin to feel things starting to warm up for Dynasty's arm as well as these wide receivers here in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about the shaky passing attack from Carolina, but that looked like they've been sensational all season. A beautiful touch pass over the pair of defensive backs, Tank Bennett and Ted Haynes, the ones in coverage there. And it was just a beautifully lofted pass to where only his speedy receiver could get to it over the top of him. If he had 1 or 2 more steps, he could have been gone there, Cam.
Absolutely. As McBride with the carry again, gain of 1. You know, talking about Dynasty coming into this game, his completion and attempt right there, the completion percentage is 51.3. So he's not done too bad as far as that goes, but there's been turnovers that has bit him. 4 turnovers coming into this game to 1 touchdown pass. But that right there shows you what Dynasty can do. As we see him unload again, going towards the end zone. It is incomplete. Looked like kind of a facsimile of the same play we've seen earlier to Chase Earl. This time better defended.
Yeah, certainly. The safety not taking any chances and just says, you know what, let me just take him out of the play rather than giving him a chance to catch the football, and certainly does, just driving him into the turf. Like I said, as the ball's soon to get to his hands.
Curtis going in motion once more. That is going to put 4 receivers to the left of Bryant Dynasty. Going all out here, throwing deep into the coverage. It's batted up almost in the vicinity of a turnover intended for Curtis. It's incomplete. 4th and 9.
Yeah, Parker Thomas was almost able to get his hands on it after the tip up. And now Carolina at least going to get some points if they are able to make the field goal. Not an easy one. Not guaranteed, I should say.
Malone Brown in his 7th season. It's got the angle. It has the distance. And Carolina on the board first with the first sustained drive of this entire game. Able to go down and put 3 on the board. An early lead for the Skyhawks here at home.
Yeah, and the drive really consisted of some really solid runs there, Cam, and then just the big play over the top. And if that's what you got to do to get your offense working, then so be it. Denver isn't an easy team to get those big chunk plays on. So when you can get them, if you see something in the defense, capitalize on it. What a hit. And do your best with the opportunities.
Well, let's give a call, too, to Bryant Dynasty. The fact that that big pass play to Earl, that changed the complexion of the entire drive.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, a good job right there, able to lead the troops down the field. They get the early lead, and Denver now looking to respond. We're early in this game, folks, just halfway through this first quarter. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon. We've got Ike McBride as well as Joshua Durr on stats this evening. And, of course, Cameron Irvine is back at SFL HQ. Blanton signaling motion. That's Lewis that goes to the bottom of the screen. Pressure coming. And he finds his man connecting with Logan Keel. The last time you and I had a chance to call a game, it was when Denver was against Albuquerque. And we talked about this tandem right here and just how good these two are when they can get hooked up.
Yeah, certainly. Logan Keel in that game completely lit up the stat sheet. And right there, you see the route. He gets, that's all about the press at the line of scrimmage, Cam. He fights off the hands. He gets inside of the defensive back. And after that, it's all about playing catch up. Once he has that 1 or 2 steps on him, it's hard to keep up, and he makes the catch.
A good pocket for Blanton here, and he finds his man, but it's jarred loose. And that's just good defense. A good hard hit coming up. It's Danny Stinson jarring the bar loose.
Yeah, certainly saved that play. As it was developing and the pass got made, I certainly thought it was going to be a catch, Cam, because that's exactly what we just saw on the previous play. But this Carolina defense learning, adjusting to the previous plays at hand, and Danny Stinson made a great play on that one.
Blanton again with a little bit of time there to drop back and throw intended, as that is Davidson Joseph coming up on the deflection. That was intended for Dylan Lewis, and it's a 3rd and 10.
He's been really solid this season as well, playing at an all-star level, top 5 in the league when it comes to those receiving yards. He's a really, really reliable target for Blanton so far this season.
3 receivers to the bottom of your screen, as you see for Denver. One man in the backfield and one up top for Blanton. And he rolls out. He looks right, looks back across his body, throws, and it's complete to Michael Goodman, the rookie, who you and I had a really good opportunity many times last year to take a look at in the minor leagues with New York. We know what this guy can do.
Yeah, the SFL Season 10 MVP. He was lighting it up down there last season, Cameron. He had the by far and away the best receiver season we've ever seen down in the minor leagues. And, you know, bringing that talent up to Denver, it's certainly going to be something to look out for going further.
One of the most clean route runners as well that you'll see, even early on in his development. Just a natural talent there with him. As we see Dylan Lewis in motion, it's a carry to Jeremy Mosley for the first time today, gain of 1. Let's take a moment and introduce this Carolina defense. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. Defensive ends, L.J. Hobbs and May Carter. Defensive tackles, Phil Hall and Christopher Colon. The linebackers, Danny Stinson, Mojo McLean, and Shravan Prasad. The cornerbacks, Tristan Hatley, T.D. Jack, and Davidson Joseph. And the safety, Skippy Curtis, Mike Ryan, and Rochelle Colston. Back to the ground game they go with O'Shaughnessy. And, yeah, I understand. I would lay down there for an extra second or two after taking a shot like that. Bringing up 3rd and 6, that was quite the hit late on.
Yeah, it absolutely was. These linebackers for Carolina are just so good helping on the run. Well, those last 2 runs only accumulated for 4 yards combined. Now forced to pass.
Blanton rolling out, throwing quickly, a play that didn't feel like it really had time to even be developed. And Mike Ryan getting the credit with the deflection and the incompletion there. That brings up 4th and 6. The drive stalls once more for Denver.
Yeah, Blanton must have seen something down there, Cam, that we didn't, because it seemed like he was halfway through his rollout before stopping and throwing it on a dime in triple coverage. So, you know, certainly, you know, seeing the rollout, not the way you wanted that play to develop. Oh, he missed!
Oh, and Jordan Bradshaw looked like he was going to curve back towards the promised land there, but no, instead it doinks just wide right. And you could hear it here in the arena, in the stadium, and up here in the booth, DJ. That you know, I don't think we expected that one to hit like that. We thought it was going to curve back. So Denver still not able to get points on the board today.
Yeah, and Bradshaw leads the leagues in field goals attempted, Cam, but that is already his 2nd miss in only 4 games.
Now Brad Dynasty to throw. And a great play right there. Once again, connecting early and often today with Chase Earl. We get a chance to look at the replay here and watch this great route.
Yeah, he's the only receiver here in Carolina that has a receiving touchdown through the 3 games they've played, Cameron. So I totally expect him to continue to get targeted, having that little bit of clutch gene they've seen from him.
And a nice touch on that football by Bryant Dynasty. Back to the ground game with Quintero. Ping-pongs off a couple of defenders before a gain of 3, a hard-fought 3 yards there as we're making our way to the end of this first quarter.
You know, and these runs have been tough to get a lot of stake in yardage right now. These defenses are built so well to stop the run. Carolina and Denver alike, it's going to be really hard for them to churn away on the ground game throughout the rest of this game, I can imagine.
Chris Curtis going in motion to the top side. We'll see what way Dynasty wants to look here. And he throws towards the flat, and a good decision. McBride stiff-arming a man out of bounds after getting the first down. And yeah, in the early stage of this game, DJ, we can certainly see this Carolina team looking a lot more composed coming out of the gate.
Yeah, and it's a good sign of life for them, you know, especially especially against a team as well put together and coached as Denver is, with how they're looking right now. You know, it's only the first quarter, but they're not looking like the Carolina we've seen these past few weeks.
You know, we talked about it before, you know, going on air, that Carolina's a team that can get hot at a moment's notice, even after slow starts. Dynasty, again, kind of sidearms it there, slings it in there. It's a completion, a gain of 7 for Rickenbacker, the tight end, the rookie, coming up his first season here in the SFL. 6'5", 280 pounds, a big target.
And that's his 4th catch on the season there. You know, they're doing a pretty good job of spreading the love over here in Carolina. Coming into this game, you know, they had several with 4 and one with 5, and the rest was pretty spread.
Quintero shaking some tackles, gets the first down, and gets right to the 20-yard line. I think Denver needs to be real fortunate and grateful for the fact that didn't go any farther than it did. Just a missed tackle away from maybe having a big run there.
Yeah, it was certainly looking a little bit scary, and he was running with some force there, and I think that's what you're going to have to do is just bring the contact to Denver.
McBride with the stiff arm, breaking free, another stiff arm, past the 10, down to about the 6-yard line, and it's this ground attack that is really starting to get things rolling for the Skyhawks today, and I love it. I think it's a great plan, a great scheme coming in here.
Yeah, completely agree. It's the same way their other drive was working. They had the big play to Earl, and then the run game chewed out the rest of the yardage. Their run game continuing to churn away as they get closer and closer to that beautiful blue goal line.
Listen, there is no substitute for a good ground attack.
That's right.
And that's just all they are to it. So important in football, even after all these years, is we see people want to go to the high-flying route. Nothing better than a good ground attack. That brings us to the end of the first quarter. One frame is in the books, and we've got a tight one here. Carolina leads Denver 3-0 on the Virtual Football Network. We get a chance to take a look at the Museum of Natural Sciences, and that aerial coverage is brought today by DAGS DroneWorks, aerial photography and videography services for real estate events, marketing, and so much more. We invite you to learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. A beautiful view, as we said, of the Museum of Natural Sciences. And we welcome you back in. Yes, absolutely. We welcome you back into a coliseum of natural wonders as well. Some football here of the SFL type. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon, excited to be with you here on this Sunday evening. Keeping it on the ground and running through defenders is Riley Quintero, and it's a touchdown, and Carolina goes up 2 scores.
And Quintero forcing his way into the end zone, getting his second touchdown on the season. What a tough run to do it on, breaking a tackle from the incoming defensive back there. That was Blake Prine trying to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. And against a guy like Quintero, you can't just have one defensive back on him. You need a few. And after the very heavy run play induced drive, they churn their way to the end zone. Man, Cameron, that's got to be demoralizing and tiring as a defense trying to deal with McBride and Quintero in the backfield.
For Quintero, the second touchdown of this young season. But I feel like things like that, you know, that could be a spark, really. And this ground attack, as we said, coming out, looking great today, already over 100 yards total for Carolina. That's an improvement right off the bat. We will see how Denver responds. It's been lukewarm thus far for this Nightwings team.
Yeah, you know, the offense certainly not looking up to par. You know, the run game has been quieted kind of by the strong linebacking core of Carolina right now. And, you know, it seems like the throws from Blanton are just a little bit rushed, Cam. 2 for 7. Not his average.
Oh, toss play running left side. O'Shaughnessy with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide from a big hit. As again, it is Prasad once more on the tackle.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up so far tonight, Cam. Already he had a you know, the sack earlier, you know, stopping the runs there. He's been all over the field already in this very short game we've got to call up to this point.
Blanton now back to throw, trying to find some rhythm, and there's how you do it. In stride with Logan Keel across the middle of the field, and they get the first down on a beautiful play.
Yeah, and I think that's what they need to keep doing, Cameron. You know, you have established connections. You got Keel, who we've seen, me and you have big games together. Dylan Lewis, also a huge connection for him. Try and maybe not force it to your best targets, but try and draw up some plays that really highlight them just to get Blanton a little bit more comfortable and maybe some momentum under your belt.
Forcing the football has been an issue that Blanton has had. 6 interceptions to this point in the young season. That throw incomplete. He was going for Dylan Lewis, just as you had mentioned, DJ, and the ball knocked loose, incomplete, brings up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, now the playbook's open. You could run it, try and get the majority of the yardage, but for Denver, seeing is how Carolina, with this strong 4-3 they've been running a bit, has stopped the run and try and go to a pass.
Well, we see motion. That's Jay Viper. Lining up to the right side of Blanton. And second down, good blocking up front. Plenty of time to choose his target, and he's got him. Dylan Lewis stiff-arming a man as he's pushed out of bounds. And so, yeah, we're starting to see both of these offenses kind of wake up here.
Yeah, and Dylan Lewis was the sole right receiver on that play. Looked like he ran a corner route and just found separation in between the zones of the defense. Was able to find some room in between that deep zone and the shallow cloud on that right side, and just making a play on the sideline between the defenders and making some plays afterwards.
2 men in the backfield with Blanton as he steps back, throwing once more. Complete again over the middle to Logan Kill, and there's that chemistry, that rhythm that we talked about. Blanton is one of those people who, yeah, when he gets in a rhythm, he's very hard to stop.
Yeah, and we had mentioned it previously. Just try and write up some plays that get your two best receivers involved. That looks like to be what they're doing. 2 previous plays, and even the one before that was attempted for Dylan Lewis. And already 3 receptions for Keel, over 50 yards already, having a really solid game. Now we talked about that momentum. Let's see if the wheel keeps moving.
Blanton, quick screen out of the backfield to O'Shaughnessy, who looked like he was gaining some speed but couldn't get around the edge, and that's good defense by Carolina. You know something, DJ, I think that's interesting about this matchup. 5 meetings between the two. Denver has won 3. Carolina has won 2. But they're always very closely contested. Even the losses such as season 24 when Denver beat Carolina 16-0. Still, tightly contested games that are no means a blowout. Things could change today, but this has that feeling of another tight contest.
Yeah, absolutely does.
We'll see how that develops as Blanton throwing it, touchdown. And there's the response that we were all looking for. Dylan Lewis to the house for 6, and they draw closer to Carolina.
Yeah, making it his 2nd of the season is Dylan Lewis. He's been the lead pass catcher for Blanton all season long. We continue to see that. The young man putting his trust in his receiver down in the red zone, certainly paying off for him as Denver bounces back in a very nice way. And Cam, they decided to shy away from the running attack and stick with the pass against this Carolina defense for that drive at least, and it certainly has paid off. 7 plays, averaging just about 10 yards per play, 2.5-minute drive. I mean, that's just quick, calculated offense.
It is, and you've seen we talked about the rhythm of Blanton, getting the snaps off, firing to his receivers, all very calculated, as you suggested, and just what a difference it made in this Denver offense. So there was the response. We figured it was going to, come eventually, the way that this offense is so talented. Now we turn the ball back over to Carolina, and with Denver now with having a little bit of the momentum, we'll see how Carolina chooses to respond.
I can only imagine if you're Carolina, you got to try and continue getting this run game going. With that last drive, how it ended, really how the whole drive went, I guess you could say. Your run game was really living it up. Quintero was looking really good. McBride was lighting it up. You just got to keep finding room for your backs to run. But clearly, that's not the agenda on this play.
No, you're right. Dynasty. A drop back to throw with all kinds of time. Good job on offensive line and a grab that I've never seen before. Gibson Rickenbacker, the rookie tight end, snagged that one. As we said, I don't know if I've seen a 280-pound man jump like that.
Certainly not often at all. And what a beautiful throw, trusting your rookie tight end. What a route. He gets the step in front of the defensive back, able to jump up. He knows he's going to get hit, still able to haul it in. But those are the type of catches your tight ends thrive in, is ones where they're going to get damaged afterwards. But my goodness, we talked about the explosiveness. There's some of it there.
Yeah, and here they go again. Back downfield, and it happens once more. Spread the wealth here, and it's going to be Chase Earl getting a leaping reception. He says, hey, you can do it, Gibson. I can do it as well. Take a look at this.
Oh, man. I guess they said forget the running game. We don't need it. We can pass just as well. And with those two passes, certainly got to have some momentum involved with it.
2 plays already in the red zone. Now back to the ground game they go. McBride lowering the shoulder, barreling forward. Good run of 7 on first down.
Yeah, and that run there gonna push Ike McBride right over the 10,000 career rushing mark for her. Congratulations on a huge milestone.
Absolutely, congratulations indeed. The game ball there, no doubt, for that milestone. And Quintero back with the rock this time, gets inside the 10. Yeah, McBride only had 21 yards to reach to get that. So we knew that we had a good opportunity of seeing that milestone today. So congratulations to Ike. And this ground attack still continuing to move. And this offensive line as well. Shout out to them, the holes that they're making here. Back into the pile. A couple there. That brings up 2nd and goal. They're going to credit Jimmy Burgett, the linebacker, with the stop.
And now this short of the field goal, or this short of field position, I feel like with how well they were running previously, you got to keep going for it.
2nd and goal inside the 5-yard line. As we see some motion late here by Carolina. And back to the ground. Good blocking up front. Quintero getting ever so closer. Brings up 3rd down. Now, this is a predicament here. You know, your ground game doing pretty good, but so's your pass game, DJ. What poison do you pick here?
You know, if it's me, just with the all-star, type talent they have in the backfield, I'd go back to the run. Me personally, though, I don't know.
They line up in the eye, which is indicative of that, but we'll see what they come out in. 3rd and goal.
Oh.
We see motion by Chris Curtis. And they do. They give it, I believe that's to the fullback, Hattori Hanzo, who is stopped at the line, dead in his tracks. Chuck Diesel coming in like a diesel truck and making the stop, and it's 4th and goal. And Carolina will be reduced to a field goal attempt.
What a nice stop, and that's got to feel good if you're the Denver defense, right? Carolina been able to put up points pretty well, and with the huge passing outburst they displayed earlier in that drive, it almost, for me, with how well their rushing game had looked on the previous drive, I thought for sure Carolina would be able to punch it in from there. But Denver, they bolstered up, they bend, but did not break, and they held the line to game.
Lone Brown with 3 points, tacking that on, makes it a 13-7 game with 3:57 left in the half. Surprised that they went with the fullback option instead of just pounding it down the middle with Riley or Ike?
Yeah, you'd certainly like to see the fullback. If you do run it up the gut, for example, you'd have the fullback out in front to maybe throw the block that would have made the tackle. But I'm not a coach. They went with what had maybe worked in practice, what they thought would work, and it just didn't pay off.
We've said it before, DJ. That's why we're up here.
That's right.
They're down there. Bryant Dynasty this season, as you can see, 226 passing yards in the first 3 games, 112 alone in this first half. So, like we said, this team coming out looking a lot different so far this game. And you Carolina fans, I know you got to love it. The defense doing a good job there, coming up with the stop. That's Danny Stinson once more.
Yeah, it's just got to feel good. And, just in the first half alone, like you had mentioned, already looking like a whole new ball club right now.
Screen pass out of the backfield. That's Mosley, who puts the shoulders down and bulldozes forward for the first. And they're really big on that screen play. We've seen it a couple times to Bailey, and now getting Mosley involved in it as well.
Yeah, you're right there. It usually is O'Shaughnessy who gets that look. Mosley getting it that time, but both these backs are phenomenal. I think either one of them will be able to perform in that role right there. Mosley clearly able to, wide open in space, and pushes well for the first down.
Well, at the 33-yard line, and O'Shaughnessy now getting good blocking up front and making some holes as well. A good run on first down. Gain of 9 as the clock winds down to 2:56 and counting here in this half.
Some great blocking, too. That was a huge hole for the back to run into. The wide receivers did their job as well, holding the defensive backs off and getting around the edge. It was some great all-around team blocking.
We've seen some really good jobs up front by both of these squads today. And there's Mosley again. Kind of had me stuttering my words there. I thought he was going to break it free for a big run, and he does get the first. But look at the blocking again.
Oh,
I mean, this is a clinic on how to place well-timed blocks for both these squads.
Yeah, you saw the main offensive line, of course, hold their own, and then one of them shot out to the second level, stopping one of the linebackers. I believe it was Stinson who got blocked there, who's been all over the place.
Indeed. O'Shaughnessy getting physical, runs for another 7 on first down, and that's a good sign right there for your unit when you can actually get 6 or 7 yards consistently on a first down carry.
Yeah, and that is not an easy defender to hit off you like that. Rochelle Colston, a tenacious defender, but a really tough run there.
Absolutely. That brings us to the 2-minute warning, folks. You are watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon, Ike McBride, and Joshua Durr in the stats truck, and Cameron Irvine at SFL HQ. And, like we said, we expect this to be a tightly contested game, a physical game. And I thought O'Shaughnessy was stopped right around the line of scrimmage, but somehow finds a way to push forward and get the first. But that's a prime example of the type of action we've seen in this first half.
Yeah, I mean, that's just some physical football. I mean, just like the types of run we had seen before that 2-minute warning break, hard hits and just straight aggression.
Well, I'm here for it. It's the kind of football we all love, folks. As R.E. Mills gets in on the carry this time. R.E., a long-standing veteran here of Denver. All 11 seasons, the three-time All-Star has played here at Denver. That's something to be proud of.
Absolutely. That sort of retention, especially with solid pieces like that, is always going to help.
Ball just outside the 35-yard line. O'Shaughnessy with some lanes, and again, another good run. We now will see a timeout taken, setting up a 3rd and 1 here for Denver.
It's seeming really, Cam, as this game goes on, that both facets of both teams' offenses are really starting to gel. Run games of both teams are looking really well, along with the passing game. Maybe just the first few drives, they just had to iron out the wrinkles.
Now, Blanton throwing short. It's complete. Big gain, though. Good job of Dylan Lewis directing traffic as he crossed the 20 to get that first down. And again, we'll see another timeout taken here.
Nice job to change up the tempo of your drive, as now it's under 2 minutes. Now you're on a time limit. Going through the air certainly going to be advised. Still got just under 20 yards to go, but you don't got all the time in the world. You got to do it relatively quick.
And nobody in the backfield as O'Shaughnessy goes out wide. Blanton will attempt the throw here. Quick release into double traffic. Trying to reach out for it was Jay Viper, but nicely defended downfield. Double coverage, including Tristan Hatley right there on the stop.
Yeah, it looked like he laid a pretty big hit on the receiver. Like you said, Jay Viper trying to go up there in coverage. And risky throw from Blanton. We've seen that not pay off for him in previous weeks, but going back to the well there and didn't go in his favor.
Blanton again. Going back to the well this time. Able to make it stick. A big grab and a big hit as well on the receiver. And a timeout called for here by Denver. A quick series of events there, DJ.
Almost got deja vu on that one. Looked almost the exact same as the previous, minus the actually catching it.
Now, inside the 5-yard line, goal to go here for the Denver Nightwings, looking to punch it in and take the lead before halftime. Pressure coming through. Nobody really in the vicinity there except blue jerseys. It was swatted down by Mojo McClain, who has already had a busy afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Another risky throw there from Blanton. Now you gotta punch it in here. Don't be too risky. Just try and find something calculated and precise.
Back to the air they go. Touchdown. Nobody around big number 85, Mike Kleinecht. the rookie, getting the score in this one, tying it up and just one extra point away from taking the lead.
Yeah, the rookie's first ever touchdown in the SFL. And it certainly looked like Carolina was expecting a run there. They brought everybody in the box down to rush Blanton and those running backs, but they just throw it right over the top of them. You take the lid off, as they say, connecting with your big tight end in the end zone. So to get that man that ball.
And really, absolutely. And really not a bad decision either by Carolina. You know, you almost expect them to give it to O'Shaughnessy or Mosley or R.E. Mills in that situation. A good job of the Denver offense. They're able to capitalize it. And, you know, you and I, we talked about all the minor games we've been able to call. We've seen Mike Kleinett come up through the ranks, and so that's a big moment for him.
Oh, yeah, he was really solid. He played for Boston in his tenure in the SFLM, was with Dakota West and that crew over with them for the season. They were, you know, down in the minor leagues before they were disbanded and the expansion happened, but he was a really solid piece of that offense. And, you know, especially with how Carolina defended the pass on those plays leading up to that last play. I agree with you. It's not a bad decision to try and try and stop the run just because, you know, they stopped it twice. You know, as a defense, you don't think they're going to go for it a third time, but Denver stood their ground and they did.
I'm thinking of adventures in Boston, you know, last season with you and the refs up there, DJ. Those who watch those minor league games will know that's exactly right. He had a couple disagreements as that pass is incomplete. A couple disagreements there with the refs on the field in Boston, and that made for some good TV, no doubt. 35 seconds remaining in this first half, a one-score game. Like we talked about, DJ, these games are always so closely contested.
Yeah, certainly are. 1 point difference right now, and for Carolina, I mean, it looks like it with that last previous play. I feel like you got to try and take a shot here. At least the gambler in me says that, Cam.
Well, you've been pretty successful this weekend, my friend. So, you know, I think you may be onto something. I would agree with you there. As Chase Earl goes in motion, Dynasty with time and a great pocket, unloads. Jumping up, snagging, making the INT. That's Tank Bennett in his second season coming over, and a 15-season man here for Denver, the veteran, five-time All-Star, making a huge play.
Well, you know, Cam, it's always better when you're gambling someone else's money. And, you know, I bet on them for going for it, and it certainly didn't pay off. Tank Bennett with a huge play. And now Denver has the opportunity to put even more points up.
Yeah, absolutely. Already in, field goal range or right thereabouts. They want to get some more yards, obviously. But a good position here for Denver. 28 seconds remaining in this first half. Blanton throwing, and again that connection with his wideouts has been fantastic. That's Logan Kill once more. Now inside the 20, and a no-huddle coming. Blanton throwing inside. Oh! My goodness, they turn it right back over. And it's Tristan Hatley, the cornerback, who gets the revenge for Carolina.
Oh my goodness, Cameron. We could have just skipped all that drama and started off the previous Carolina drive here, because they're almost in the same exact field position, minus a few heart attacks for both coaches on the sideline. And now I'd almost bet. I heard Mark Lopez make the call last week. I'd almost bet my kidney that this time Carolina isn't risking anything.
I mean, my voice went to a higher octave I've never been in before when that happened. I mean, what a play. What great defense. My goodness, folks. We're all being treated to quite a show here this evening as Chris Curtis goes in motion. 11 seconds remaining in this first half. I got to tell you, though, if I'm Carolina, I'm probably content to do just this. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Get out of here with the 1 point deficit.
Yeah, and it was a huge jump in production from that first quarter, Cam, because we only had seen 3 points get put up in that first quarter, 24 coming in that second.
Folks, an exciting first half. We expected it to be. Denver leads by 1 as we welcome you in to the SFL halftime report. Cameron Duty here with DJ Kilgannon. And DJ, of course, give me your first half thoughts, but also what adjustments would you like to see out of these two squads? Right now, it's been a very physical game, but also, you know, offenses have been firing pretty nicely here.
Yeah, they certainly have. You know, it really just took that first quarter to iron things out. Come that second quarter, everything was gelling for the offenses, and I would say the defenses were kind of playing lost, but, you know, then both of them put up interceptions with 30 seconds left in the quarter. So who knows what's going to happen come this second half, but all I know, Cam, is it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good one, folks, and we welcome you to stick around and find out. Of course, we'd like to thank Ike McBride and Joshua Durr and the Stats Truck and Cameron Irvine at SFL headquarters. Folks, you're watching the Simulation Football League right here on the Virtual Football Network. And just as a reminder, this week on the VFN, SFL Week 5 is on tonight and Monday, and the UFL's final 3 weeks of the regular season continues Saturday and Tuesday. There is no other network that gives you more football. That's a fact. The SFL lives on the Virtual Football Network. So we welcome you back in to start this second half. And Denver getting the football to start with. Nice return by Viper. Makes, a good hard run of it back out to the 20. They'll spot him at the 19.
Now, I'm very curious to see how Denver is going to start off this half offensively. You know, your pass attack was working for a good bit, going down the field, trying to take advantage of the turnover on the other way, and then it leads to a turnover. So I'm curious if they let Blanton continue to sling the rock.
They start on the ground with O'Shaughnessy, who runs right into a pair of blue and red jerseys after a gain of 3. I think that's something that if you're Carolina, you're really going to want to be able to put to a stop. It's those 6 and 7 yards on first down that he's been able to get so far.
Yeah, you know, because at that point, your playbook is just completely all on the table. You can literally do anything you want. And those second and shorts are usually a big opportunity for offenses to try and take a shot downfield.
Now Mosley with the carry, he gets behind the lineman and pushes his way back to the line of scrimmage. And I think that's one of the reasons that Denver was successful at the end of the first half is because you have been seeing O'Shaughnessy get 6 and 7 yards a carry, which is what they were expecting down around the goal line. And then, like you said, they got aggressive, kept with the passing attack. And there you go, bada bing, bada boom. All of a sudden, it's a 1-point lead as Blanton rolls out throwing. The pass is complete. Another dime dropped in there to Lewis, who's been a busy man today, as Denver goes over the 200-yard mark, 243 and counting.
And that there was similar to a play we had seen earlier, Cam, where Blanton was on a rollout and kind of forced the pass into tight coverage, if you can recall back to that moment. That time, they let him he completes the rollout, I should say, and connects with Lewis on the corner route. And that's just an example. You got to let your routes develop. Don't get rid of the ball too quickly. That's something that he's been lacking is having some calm and not trying to force things too often when you don't really need to.
O'Shaughnessy with another good carry on first down. That brings up a 2nd and 2. And talking about total yards for the offensive units, let's talk about Carolina averaging 183 yards a game coming in. That's 23rd in the league. They're already up to 179. We'll look at Denver's total right after this play. A good hard run by Mosley to get the first down. Talking about Denver, 332 yards per game. So they're on track with what they have done thus far coming into their 4th game of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're definitely outperforming last week. Only had 213 yards last week as a total in the entirety of the game. That along with being shut out already in this one. They've got 14 more points than last week and already have more yards of production, and it's only in one half of football.
3-yard gain by O'Shaughnessy. Brings up 2nd and 7. Ball at the 43-yard line of Carolina. Now Mosley getting a chance on the run. Lowers his head, and he gets a couple. They're going to bring up 3rd and 4 situation here. And again, for Denver, the playbook is wide open. They have multiple different formations they can choose from here because they can get you either way.
Yeah, they really can. And, if it's me, I'd probably try and go with a pass. But we talked about it. They got the eye look. It really could be anything at this point.
Here's Logan Kill in motion. He's been busy today. A good handful of targets and some completions. Blanton rolling out. Going to step up. Going to get the first. Is he going to slide? He does. And that was just a nice play of Trellis Bland using the feet, able to make a big play. Pretty good speed on that QB.
Yeah, that's, he had only took off 3 times prior to that run, and certainly none of them for that type of yardage. Had 3 carries for 2 rushing yards. That time, the pocket was kind of collapsing around him, and he scampered out to his left. I thought he was going to try and fire it downfield from there, but he looked up, didn't see any blue or red. He took off well for the first.
It was good decision-making indeed. And look at that. Just, again, another brutal run. R.E. Mills with the carry that time and gets 6 on first down. And we've talked about it for Carolina. That is what they have to stop, that forward progress, as we see Colston come up on the tackle. Second and 4, O'Shaughnessy. Hit hard at the line. Trying to leap over a defender there and pretty much leaped right into the tackle of Danny Stinson, who we've called many times in this game up to this point.
Yeah, has certainly had himself a night. Already at 7 tackles, Cam, as is several people on Carolina's defense.
A fast-moving third quarter, folks. You're seeing that with the inclusion of the ground attack here, almost primarily. But on third down, I almost thought it was sure-handed. They were going to complete that rush there and get the first. Instead, they're stopped behind the line. It's 4th and inches, thanks to Mojo McClain.
When I look at this play, Cam, in a roundabout sense, it's probably the right decision. You're already up by 1. You kick the field goal. It forces Carolina to have to score a touchdown. But I look down at that 4th and inches, and with the running backs they have in the backfield, that's just going to simmer in the back of my head for the rest of this game. I don't know about you.
Well, I had a feeling you might would mention that. I know that I know you like to put all the chips on the table, my friend, but I do have to agree. I feel like that was an opportunity to keep that drive alive. But Jordan Bradshaw gets the field goal, makes it a 4-point game. And like you said, the advantage there, now Carolina can't rely on a field goal. They have to score a touchdown here.
Yep, they do. And with how their offense has been producing the big playability we've seen up to this point from Carolina, it won't take much. One of those big plays in the field is basically completely flipped. And Bryant Dynasty just has to really just run this drive like we know he can.
It feels like it's been forever since we've seen Carolina's offense on the field. They did get the ball back at the end of the second half after they got that interception, but it has been a minute since Carolina has been out there. Play clock down to 5. We'll see what they come out with. They go with Quintero running right and gets maybe a yard. Yeah, they'll give him a yard there before being tackled by Quintana. And you see the total yards now. Denver over 300, Carolina at 180. We'll see what they come out with. Toss play this time. McBride, so 2 straight runs and barely getting 4 yards on those 2 carries, and that sets them up quickly with a 3rd and 6 here. Not a really good pacing that they wanted to come out with.
Yeah, definitely not. And I don't hate the attempt with how well their rushing game had looked. But now you got to pass against a really solid Denver passing defense.
And that they do, and it's thrown a little too far out in front of the intended target. And it's at the shoelaces of the Denver defender there. And that's a quick 3 and out, which is what Carolina has struggled to get out of this season. 4th and 6, and Malone Brown is on to punt.
Yeah, certainly. Just not what you want to see offensively, right? The rushing game had worked previously, but you see 2 back-to-back tackles from Luis Quintana really, really early on in the run, and then, we see another risky throw from Dynasty in coverage. Just kind of just stalled out a little bit, and we had seen it in the first half. At the start of the half, both offenses struggled a little bit, so maybe that's going to be another instance of where they just kind of got to shake it off and let things come to them.
And for the Carolina defense, they did not get much of a chance to recover or catch a breather there before they have to come right back out on the field with the Denver offense that's beginning to cook, as it is O'Shaughnessy with the carry, though. They get him right at the line of scrimmage. Stinson with the tackle. But yeah, a big response here needed, and maybe even unrightfully, that Carolina, their defense has to come out and make the stop. But, you know, again, that is the name of the game.
Yeah, it is indeed. And, you know, let's see if we're going to, oh no, they're going to go ahead and pass.
They do, and they've got a man, and it's incomplete. You talk about that defense, and it's Davidson Joseph, the former season 16 All-Star, coming in and jarring the ball loose. That's 3rd and 10.
Yeah, we haven't got the chance to call his name much in this one.
No.
But he's certainly a nice piece in the defense for them. Has plenty of tackles on the season, helps in the run game quite a bit, and really nice in the pass game as well, and a really nice timed hit on the receiver.
Blanton now going to roll out, throw one-handed grab, just like a walk, or just literally a walk in the park by Jay Viper there to get the first down and extend this drive. 3:30 and counting here in this 3rd quarter.
Now, we did mention that rollout attempt earlier where we had seen the preemptive pass from Blanton. If I'm not mistaken, that was the exact play we saw it happen on. That time he completed his rollout, let the routes develop, and connected. That's some patience coming from Blanton. That's what we've been wanting to see from him, and we're seeing it work out.
Absolutely. Mills with the carry and just nowhere to go. Again, great pursuit by Carolina. Prasad with the tackle, and no gain on the play. Brings up 2nd down.
Yeah, and this is just like the last set of downs we had for Denver, where they were starting to stall a little bit early on, but you can't rely on converting on every 3rd and 2nd and long. And here we're going to see another one.
Yeah, we are. Again, a good job by Carolina. And Stinson, once again, on the stop of O'Shaughnessy. Those two have seen each other all day long, getting to know each other very well. Brings up a 3rd and 8 situation here. So, again, force the pass. We'll see what Denver can come up with. It's a rollout. Blanton with time hit. He throws, though. Coming in late on that one was the defensive man, number 57. Again, Danny Stinson knocks the ball loose. They say the arm's going forward. It's incomplete.
Yeah, that time no review needed. The refs see that ball coming forward on the really hard hit taken from Blanton. And I like that, Cam.
Yes.
That shows some discipline. It really does. To be able to hold on to the ball long enough, and something we've harped on is letting your routes develop. He holds on to it for just a smidge long, trying to wait for those routes to open up. You know, in result, he takes a hit out of it. But if he threw it earlier, we could have seen something way worse. I think that certainly shows the growth from Blanton as these games continue on. Yeah.
I would agree, and we said that Carolina's defense needed to come up with a response. You know, they're wore out and getting gassed, but they do so, and Carolina will start from their own end zone. But look at this run by Quintero. That's what they need, and that is how, if you remember, DJ, at the start of the first half, it was that ground attack, making plays like that, which is what fueled this Carolina offense getting into rhythm. Are we seeing it again here?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do it, and with how close they were to the end zone, I certainly expected a run to start. Now let's just see after that first good run if they continue the momentum and continue to run the rock.
Minute 55 remaining in this 3rd quarter of play. Almost 3 frames down in an exciting football game. Dynasty throwing incomplete. And we're going to see a flag. We're going to see some interference, I believe, DJ.
Yep, you are right. Okay. Yeah, they go for a pass. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know, it looked like the freeway at 5 o'clock right there when they were all log jammed in that vicinity.
He's blocking his path to the ball. Can't do that.
Yeah, Parker Thomas, the man with the infraction there. So Carolina gets a gift, moves them out to the 32-yard line. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, our first penalty of the game. As Dynasty looks now to the middle of the field, the pass is complete. Spot on. Adam Banks with his first reception of the night, and it comes at a great time. 1st and 10, Carolina.
Depositing that first down grab into his bank account, continuing the solid drive after that nicely wrapped gift, excuse me, that they were given previously with that pass interference. And this drive started at what? It was the 6-yard line, if I'm not mistaken, already pushing well towards midfield. And now with the way that if that penalty didn't happen, might have seen a completion. Their run game and pass game seem to have started to click a little bit on this drive.
All out here on 1st and 10. Pressure coming. Dynasty stands in there, throws deep. Just overthrows his target, Nolan Pierce. And I'm going to say this, it may not have been the worst thing because there was a whole heaping pile of Nightwings down there trying to pick that one off.
Now, one thing we talked about earlier is QB discipline. Talk about discipline there, Cam. I felt the defender breathing down the back of my neck on that play. Oh, my gosh. I was scared for Dynasty because the defenders were closing in like a pack of wolves right there. But he stayed calm, cool, and collected. Didn't connect, but wow.
Chris Curtis goes in motion to throw just behind the intended target of Curtis. And that brings up 3rd and 10. But, yeah, you're right. Literally, it's one of those plays where I felt myself, the play prior, getting anxious for Dynasty standing in that pocket.
Little gasp in the stands, if you will, on the edge of your seat.
The evening shadow starting to draw along here at David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium in Carolina. We got a big 3rd down play here. Skyhawks wanting to convert. Dynasty steps up, throws deep. The pass somehow is complete to the 30-yard line, and it's Adam Banks again coming up huge in his second half. But watch him jump, actually kind of cut the route and line up in front of the defenders for that reception.
Yeah, it was just oh my gosh, what a thread of the needle past those 2 defenders. And with some of that yardage he was able to gain, Bryant Dynasty going to push his way to 14th all-time in passing yards, passing the former Hall of Fame QB Mike Dazzo.
Congratulations to him as Dynasty now going for it all. Incomplete. There again is, I think, that discipline you're talking about. Not many targets downfield, so he just kind of threw that one outside the end zone there. And they'll go back and they'll try to get back to the drawing board again here on a 2nd and 10 with 33 seconds left in the 3rd. Dynasty now throwing short to Curtis, just trying to get some positive yards. They get a gain of 1, and now most assuredly here we're going to see Carolina have to go back to the air.
Yeah, certainly so. And, as that drive continued, we saw them lean less and less towards the running game. Is that trying to get Dynasty's momentum going? Maybe, but it seems to have stalled out just a slight bit.
And they've abandoned the run game. Oh, look at this! Oh my gosh, it's Chase Earl. What concentration. A bobbling football, but able to play hot potato with it, reel it in, and we've got 1st and goal for Carolina.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. Hot potato indeed. Going into the end of that quarter after a sensational concentrated catch. Wow.
Man, folks, we go to the 4th quarter. Get your 4s up. We're going to have an exciting finish, no doubt. It's the SFL on the Virtual Football Network. I'm Cameron Duty. I'm with DJ Kilgannon. We're excited as can be to be here to start this 4th quarter with you guys. Ike McBride, Joshua Durr, and the Stats Truck, and Cameron Irvine at SFL headquarters. Now, can Carolina punch it in? Quintero going to be able to shed defenders and get to the end zone for the touchdown and the lead as we start this 4th quarter.
Yeah, they said forget the running game until they needed it. The field was short enough to not pour in a pass, and they give it to Agent Q in the backfield, and he breaks off a hard tackle to push his way. Let's see it again. Great blocks on the outside. One-on-one, it's hard to stop that man, Cam. He's going to push his way in. Carolina is going to take the 4-point lead, or the 3-point lead, excuse me, if this extra point is good.
Yeah, Malone Brown on to attempt this important extra point to make it a 3-point game. As we said at the top of the broadcast, these matchups between these 2 are always close contests. So even though you look at the records, Carolina's still looking for their first win, Denver 2-1. we felt like these two teams, as well as they knew each other, it was going to be one of those tight contests. And here we are, a 3-point game with 1 quarter left to play.
Yeah, and, one thing you got to take into this matchup is, despite Carolina's record, if you're familiar with the league, last season, Carolina, a great team, won the East. You got to look at this team and think they aren't an 0-2 squad. One of their losses was by 3 points to one of the 2 undefeated teams in the league, and their other losses have been by 10 and 13 points. So it's been some tough losses. They're a team that can hang with the best of them, after they're ironing some things out, maybe later down in the season. And we talked about they are a team that can get things rolling as the season progresses.
Absolutely. And on Denver's side, knowing you need a rebound in the worst way after a 44-0 loss to Mexico City. Tough competition, absolutely. But I don't think any of us expected it to be a 44-0 ball game as it was. So Denver coming back looking for some retribution this weekend as well. A lot to play for, and it's 3rd and 6 quickly for the Nightwings. See what they can come up with here. Ball on the 24-yard line. We see motion on the top side as that is number 12, Dylan Lewis, coming over. And Blanton with time. Throwing, overthrows his man. Incomplete. He was looking for the man in motion, Dylan Lewis, who he has went to quite a bit on 3rd down situations. And because of that, Carolina able to adjust. They knew exactly where Blanton was wanting to throw it.
Yeah, they certainly did their homework. They read the eyes of them there, those defensive backs, and just nothing going. And, one thing that's still festering in the back of my mind, Cam, maybe not as much right now, but later into this ball game, as we look at that 4th and inches previously for Denver, they decided to kick the field goal, take their 4-point lead, push it out of field goal range for Carolina. They trust their defense with stopping them. Carolina scores. They get 7. And you look back at it, if they would have went for it, maybe they get 7 and things are closer. But, it's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it now.
Well, you called it at that very moment that you felt like with the way the ground attack was working that it would be a good time to go for it. And you're right. And here comes Quintero again with good field position for Carolina. Now, that's one thing we need to mention. Maybe some of the best field position that Carolina has had this entire game. They feel like with 8:34 remaining in this game, if they can score here and capitalize, to go big, in their favor and chances of winning this ball game.
Yes, certainly. Especially if they're able to put 7 on the board. Would make it a 2-possession lead there for Carolina.
Ike McBride with the carry as she gets close to a first. Now this is going to bring up, a tough situation here. Just, a yard out. Big 3rd down for both of these units. Right at midfield. Motion by the tight end, Billy Baber, in on this one. Going to try to provide some blocking, and he does it. Oh, Quintero. Man, talk about having to fight hard for that first. Maybe the hardest handful of yards that he has run this entire game, really.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like he was trying to make his way and bounce it around the edge, but kind of got caught behind the line and just had to fight his way through it at that point. Looked like he was trying to fight through paparazzi and successfully does so, pushing it past the first, continuing the drive well past the 50 for Carolina. Things are looking up for them.
I don't know about you, DJ, but when they put Billy Baber, the tight end, in and they moved him right side, it just felt like that was the way they were going, and indeed did. And Denver knew it too, but Quintero just, a tough guy to bring down, able to get the first. McBride runs left side now for a 4-yard gain, and it's 2nd and 6.
Yeah, and you have that extra tight end. You motion him over just to get some extra help blocking out there, and that time it did pay off.
6:50 and counting in regulation. Coming out of the gate hard was Quintero again, and he gets close to the first. And once again, DJ, here we go again. 3rd and 1. What will Carolina draw up?
I mean, you got to imagine it's going to be another run here with how successful it's been this drive.
That's definitely what it even would appear to be. Lining up in the I formation. It'll be a tough yard to get. Feels like deja vu all over again.
Oh!
They're going to say
Wow.
she was able to get the first. Now, it'll be interesting to see if we get a challenge on that. I don't know that we do. Okay.
I like it. Yep. You got to, I feel like.
Yeah. Here we go, folks. This could be a turning point in this ball game.
It feels like a very important play to determine the outcome of this ball game. Let's see. Oh yeah.
I feel like she actually maybe got it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see what they got to say.
Well, I thought at first glance that she did not. And the field it's overturned. The call on the field is overturned. And they say no.
Wow.
I thought that was solidified with the replay. The official thinks otherwise. And it is 4th and inches. And right here, I like the call.
So,
the quarterback's in.
So do I. I think you know that, Cam. Here we go.
Big play, folks. Inches. Who's going to get it? Oh, Quintero! Dennis was trapped behind the lineman and coming in like a heat-seeking missile. It was the linebacker, John Martin, and he spoils the Skyhawks' chances for this drive continuing.
Oh, my goodness. I love the gutsy play calling, but you just get stuck behind the line of scrimmage, and John Martin comes in there like a bat out of hell, laying a devastating hit, and you feel the gasps come from the Carolina crowd as they are stopped short. Oh my goodness. What a devastating turn of events.
You've seen it in the chat too, just the response is unbelievable. For one, a surprise that they overturned that run by McBride. I mean, we thought that it was solidified on the replay that she was able to get the first. Then to come back and stop them on 4th and inches. Now it's up to this Carolina defense. They got to make a big play here, and it's a quick 3rd and 9 with 5:40 to play in this regulation.
Yeah, excuse me. You can look at that previous, 4th down attempt, and you clearly didn't get it, but your defense is coming out after it and playing really, really solid. You're forcing Blanton to throw early on into the drive, and they're in a dime look. They're ready for it.
Yep, here we go. Big 3rd down. Fake handoff. Blant rolling out. Pressure coming. Stands in the play on the back foot. Able to get rid of that with a beautiful pass. And Logan Keel tiptoeing along the sidelines to keep the drive alive.
I just think that play as a whole, we had brought up the rollout a few times. That play specifically shows how much he has grown throughout this game, especially. You see the pressure on his back. The defender of Carolina dove at his feet, and he still stood there, made the throw on the sideline, and a beautiful one it was.
My goodness, what a throw. One of the highlight reels of the day, no doubt. And this pass incomplete. Had he been able to complete it to Logan Kill, he had room to run, but a good job by the Skyhawks defense. 2nd and 10, the clock stops at 4:55. And folks, it is important to remember here that Denver has to score a touchdown. Not, obviously to win this ball game. A field goal ain't going to do it, so they got to keep marching.
Yeah, absolutely. And, 2nd and long, you feel like they got to try and keep passing it, right? I mean, Carolina's been stopping the run well.
But they go back to the ground with O'Shaughnessy, and at a time when they need O'Shaughnessy and company to make a big run, this Carolina defense responding beautifully. And another 3rd and 8 here.
And now you're forced to pass. Another instance where you're forcing Blanton to pass. And so far, when we've said that, he's been able to pull through.
Yeah, here we go, folks. Another, here it is again. The fake, the rollout, back across his body, and he finds his man again. That play is pay dirt. Jay Viper, all by himself in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean, that play action rollout for them has just been perfect. And you see on the sideline, Keel was running that same corner route as the previous 3rd down that he connected to. The defenders were kind of shading that way, which gave Viper the look over the middle to be able to connect with the quarterback.
Now back to the ground. It's R.E. Mills rumbling,
Ooh.
bumbling, and stumbling close to the 10-yard line. And they're going to say he's down at about the 11. That's going to be a 1st and 10 in the red zone right here for the Nightwings.
You know, and Cam, every time R.E. Mills has gotten the run in this game, I have tried to think of something that R.E. could stand for to describe how this man runs the football. Nothing has came to mind yet. You might have some better luck than me.
Rigorous, extreme, I don't know. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, look at the rugged. There we go.
There you go.
And a good job of Mills, and they give it back to Mosley here. And you see, folks, this is shaping up to be a very interesting end to this drive.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's also kind of throw in there, DJ, the fact that they can't get a 1st and goal here. It's pretty much and goal to go.
Yep.
You know, very rarely are you going to see another set of downs here. O'Shaughnessy looking to get around the edge, coming up to make the stop for Carolina. Number 44, Mike Ryan, crucial tackle.
Now, we had mentioned previously, Cam, me more specifically, that in these short down and distances, I'd like to see him run. Carolina has stopped the run really, really well this drive, and they have that line bolstered up.
Expecting run. Now, will Denver go pass like they have in the past? No! And they keep it on the ground with Mills, and it's number 57, Danny Stinson, again. Big stop, 4th and 1 here.
Yeah, previously we had seen on the goal line earlier they went with that fullback run, and the same result happened.
Yeah.
Now they're forced to kick again. Thankfully for Denver, they do tie up the ball game.
Yep, so they will get the tie.
If it scores, that is, it does.
And they do, 20-20. And so, yeah, like alluded to, obviously they want to get the touchdown to take the lead, but they are at least able to tie it. They were able to march down the field, and we're all knotted up late in this 4th quarter of play with 2:23 to go here, DJ. Man, like we said, we expected a dogfight, and we certainly got one.
Yeah, that we have. I'm so curious to see how Carolina comes out of the gate on their offensive drive. You know, they have previously held the... Oh, my goodness.
Look at this, folks. Down the side, still on his feet. Adam Banks, who has came up clutch in this second half as a receiver and now a return man, going to put Carolina in beautiful position to potentially take the lead, if not win this game, if they can put a drive together.
Yeah, that's such a nice way to start it, too, because you're already past midfield. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, and how their running game has been able to perform, they could very easily run the clock out and end this with a field goal.
And folks, there are nerves, there's electricity, there's anxiety in David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium here in North Carolina. But look at this, they will not show run. Instead, they show pass. Dynasty with a good pocket to stand in, but throws short out to the flat. No gain. We've got our first game break of the evening. Cameron Irvine, welcome in, sir.
Thank you, Cameron. It's the Type Attack Show. 187 yards through the air, 71 on the ground. Takes a quarterback draw here. Makes it 20-10 Chicago. But Bossier City is on the move thanks to Jeff Banfield's 137 receiving yards. It's a tight one there as well. Back to you.
Thank you, Cam. And now again, we see an aggressive pass formation here for Carolina, deciding to not go with the run attack for a second straight play. Dynasty, another good pocket, throws the pass is complete. That's a clutch play and a good job. Rickenbacker once again making the big clutch reception.
Yeah, the rookie has been showing up really big for Carolina. We saw the catching coverage earlier, and another one there. The big tight end leaving it all out there on the field, and now they're already well into field goal range. I imagine they're just going to try and run off as much clock as humanly possible. Ideally, you leave the field with 0 seconds left, and the referee's arms up, celebrating your field goal.
Gibson Rickenbacker. You know, if you're a guitar fan, those are two very popular guitar models. I feel like Rickenbacker's just tuning up, if you will, as Quintero with the carry. Gain of 4. Yeah, that rookie, he's going to be one to talk about as this season goes on. Quintero again with another good carry. And like you said here, DJ, it's all about managing that clock.
Yep.
and you want to walk it off. Time ticking away here. I formation. And they snap it. They will throw out to the flat. That's McBride, who actually gets pushed out of bounds. So Denver going to be able to benefit from that, not having to use a timeout. And that's 3rd and 2.
Yeah, and now if you're Denver, you got to throw it all out there and try and stop this one early. We saw it on the 4th down attempt. They can stop the short run. You just got to be able to. If that is, even if Carolina does run, but it certainly looks like it.
Did you see that stat, DJ? No sacks today on Bryant Dynasty. Huge stat in this game. Great job by this offensive line. Can they get the push? No. A second straight drive that Quintero is going to go backwards on an important play. And the Nightwings swarm Riley Quintero, and that will bring on Malone Brown to attempt the field goal that will put them in the lead with 42 seconds to go. It's a 37-yarder.
I'm not going to say anything about his stats until this goes through. Going to be 37. Here we go.
From the right hash mark. Snap the hold. The kick is up. Is it hooking? It is through. And Carolina takes the lead, and they will ask their defense now to come up with its most important stop of the season thus far.
Yeah, and Malone Brown staying perfect on his season with that one. And, you know, Carolina going to take the 3-point lead. And, man, even if Denver isn't able to capitalize on offense, got to give a shout-out to their defense and how they've been able to perform in, short down and distances, especially against such a powerful running duo they have. It's so sensational to see. But now, thankfully, with how they played, you got 2 timeouts, just under 40 seconds. It's not going to be easy, but with how Blanton has been passing, might be able to pull something off.
And they were able to save the timeout by McBride being pushed out of bounds. That's huge. Blanton throwing quick, off target, incomplete, 2nd and 10. Hardly any time, though, goes off the clock. That's a plus there.
Yeah, 3 seconds for that play. Not a great start, though. Blanton went maybe back to his risky nature. Hopefully he stays away from that. Try and only throw to open receivers. Throw away from this blue and red jerseys we're seeing on the field.
3 receivers in a bunch formation at the bottom of your screen. Blanton throwing ahead of his man. Just firing too quickly there. Not giving time for the play to develop. It puts them in a 3rd and 10 situation.
Looking a little shaky on those first 2 plays, but Cameron, we've seen it all game long. When you force Blanton into these 3rd and longs, it's when he performs at his highest.
Yeah. Will it be Dylan Lewis, Jay Viper? How about Michael Goodman, Logan Kill, Mike Kleinecht? All these guys have come up big today. A rollout, tried and true, and it's incomplete. He was going for Logan Kill, but good coverage downfield. And again, the throw maybe a little too high.
Yeah, it looked a little off the marker, probably for a good thing for them because their tight coverage was really tight. Now this is all or nothing. You're putting all your chips out there. Let's see if it's able to pay off. Going back to the bunch look, which hasn't worked this drive.
One more time for Denver, for Carolina. Could be one play away from getting their first win, and they're going to be able to do it. They went to Michael Goodman, the rookie, but he was blanketed. Skippy Curtis in on the deflection. Let's get a look at it and see what happens here. Oh, yeah.
I mean, just such tight coverage. And we talked about it at the start of the drive. Try your best not to throw to tight coverages, and he just went back to it, firing ill-advised throws. The risky nature of him, it's this Denver team as a whole. The big playability, we've talked about it several times throughout the game. That time not paying off.
Well,
Denver going to take a hard loss.
Another point that you made, DJ, was indeed the fact that Blanton, again, the anxiety seemed to get to him at the end of that game. And again, the passes were a little bit too quick. The plays weren't really developed, and I think in the end that did come back to bite them. But of course, Carolina, though, the defense making the big play. A quick score update: Chicago 20, Bossier City 13 with 5:46 remaining in the 4th quarter. Bossier City has the football. We invite you to check that one out after this game is over. As you see Carolina in victory formation, both teams have a bye week next week to regroup. Denver will fall to 2-2. Carolina finally getting in the win column for all those Skyhawk fans out there. They can rest easy tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they got to feel good after that one against a great team as well. You know, and everything was just clicking for you, really. And
Yeah.
Carolina is going to be lively tonight, that's for sure.
A party in the Carolinas this evening. The scoreboard reads double zeros, and Carolina wins 23-20 over Denver in an exciting game. Folks, thank you for being here with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we have. DJ, give me your final thoughts, and if you got any game balls, feel free, my friend.
Certainly do have a game ball, but really Carolina is just such a nice job of bouncing back. Bryant Dynasty looked really well, the best he has all season, dare I say, almost doubling his total pass production on the year with that performance. And as far as my game ball goes, I got to give it to the offensive line. We didn't see Bryant Dynasty get brought down with a sack at all, and the running game was really performing, and I felt like the offensive line was a big part of that.
Absolutely. DJ, again, it has been a pleasure, my friend. Folks, we invite you to stick around. More football coming in the later block. And, of course, tomorrow, the SFL this week, followed by a great game between Houston and Albuquerque. For my friend, DJ Kilgannon, as well as Ike McBride, Joshua Durr, and Cameron Irvine, I'm Cameron Duty. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Congratulations to Carolina. We'll see you next time you're watching the SFL on the Virtual Football Network.